Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now today I'm going to test out the Kaabo Mantis 8 dual motor electric scooter for $1,099. I'm going to show you how fast it can go on all three speed modes, the difference in acceleration when set to the highest and lowest sensitivity, what you can expect for range on turbo mode with dual motors, a brake test on all speed modes, and how well it can climb hills on dual and single motor. I'll also run over all the stats, settings, and features, and give you my take on comfort, stability, and overall feel of the scooter. So let's get things started off with a speed test. The Mantis 8 has two 500-watt brushless hub motors, powered by a 48-volt lithium battery. They say that power can take a rider up to 25 miles per hour on the highest of the three speed modes it offers. I downloaded the speed app to verify the speed of the scooter and got 13 miles per hour on the app and 12 on the scooter for speed 1. On speed 2, I topped out at 20 for the app and 19 on the scooter. And on the highest speed, I hit 27 on the app and 26 on the scooter. Now that test was done with both motors and turbo mode turned on. Here's a look of all three modes compared to each other. In the settings, there's the option to limit the power. Here's the difference from 100% versus 25%. So if you can't handle the power or want to limit it for your kids, there is that option. Now that we know how fast it can go, let's see how long it takes to get there in an acceleration test. The Mantis is rated up to 264 pounds, which is one of the lighter ratings I've seen in this price range. I'm around 195 and the scooter weighs 53 pounds, so I'm on the higher end for weight, which didn't seem to bog the scooter down. Here's the acceleration on all three levels with dual motors and turbo mode turned on. It's one of the fastest accelerations in this price range. I topped out on speed 3 in less than a block. Now if the eco mode is on, even with dual motors, it really slows the scooter down and will only max out at 15 miles per hour. It also has a kick or zero start option. The Mantis 8 has a range rating of 25 miles. After charging the scooter, which takes about 3 hours to do so, I set the scooter to its highest setting with dual motors and turbo mode turned on, and on the highest speed mode. I then took off down the trail, averaging about 24 miles per hour throughout the ride. The trail I went on had a good combination of flats and hills. I didn't have a lot of start and stops, just pulled the finger throttle all the way down and cruised along the trail. The app I used to track my progress recorded 18.05 miles. The scooter showed 16.5, so there is a mile and a half discrepancy. The app also timed my ride at just under 1 hour 15 minutes, which I thought was pretty good for the most energy consumption setting. When the last battery bar hit, I was still averaging 23 miles per hour. That speed slowly drops off till there's about 5 minutes left on the battery, then it dies off fast. Now for these longer rides, I use the cruise feature that can be turned on or off in the menu, and will set once the throttle is held at a constant speed for a few seconds. While on the range test, I hit a very long and steep hill, rated at 12% for a half a mile. The Mantis is rated up to a 20% hill, so this is just over half of what it can do. I was averaging 14 to 15 miles per hour. The motor didn't seem to struggle at all, so I felt confident it could take a steeper hill. This is just the steepest one in the area. Now this test was done with a 50% battery. For fun, I switched over to single motor and tried the same hill, which didn't go too well. I only made it up a few feet before it stopped. Last thing I want to test are the front and rear disc brakes. I set my camera back alongside the road so I know when to hit the brakes and did a test on all three speed modes, with the highest mode stopping around 25 feet. In the menu, there's the option to turn on the electric brakes, so here's a comparison with them on and off. I slowed the video down so you could see the small difference. I'd recommend leaving the electrical brake on since I really couldn't tell the difference, and it does recharge the battery even if it's just a little. I thought the Mantis 8 looks pretty cool. I've always been a fan of this type of design, and these types of scooters always draw more looks than your standard city rentals. It's always fun to see people crank their heads trying to get a longer look, or stopping you on the trail asking where you got it. But the Mantis is far more than just looks. It's made from a single piece of aviation grade 6061 aluminum, with a deck that has a ton of standing room. The ride is also very smooth. I have over 100 miles on it, and it's still as quiet and solid as the first mile. The stem is pretty long enough for my 5'11" frame, and it's almost straight up and down, so it doesn't push you back to the rear of the deck, and allows you to get low when going through rougher terrain. It does take a few seconds longer to collapse than other brands in this range, and that's because you do have to untwist the bolts before the locking sleeve moves up. The handlebars are also very firm, never had any issue there. Once the bolts are tightened, it stays in place. The grips are some of my favorite, very soft and comfortable on long rides, no complaints there. The brake levers have a rubber strip in the middle, really like these on scooters, and it's something you find on higher end brands. The display can be easily seen in full sun and has 3 brightness levels. I've had it in the highest setting throughout the review. To access the menu, you do need to plug in the code, which is 1500, and once in, you can reset the odometer, change the display turn-off time, and change all the other settings I've talked about throughout the review, like speed, acceleration, and braking. The biggest contributing factor in making this a comfortable ride are the 8-inch tubeless air-filled road tires. If you're thinking about getting a scooter of any price range, I definitely consider air-filled tires. They make a big difference with sidewalk lines or roads made from chip seal. Now for the bigger bumps, that's what the front and rear shocks are for. They work pretty good and made the scooter super fun to rally through the neighborhood, jumping off curbs. It's one of the more comfortable rides for $1,000. Now as far as taking this off-road, I didn't feel the most comfortable. The road tires are too small for larger bumps you find on most off-road trails. This will be fine on a smooth dirt road or green-rated bike trail without a lot of rocks. It's mostly a commuter, city driving scooter with the power to go off-road if you want to mix things up. The Mantis 8 comes with a carrying case that attaches just below the handlebars, an 18-month warranty, and free shipping. There's a head and tail light and blue LEDs along each side, which is pretty fun for some night riding. The front and tail light also flashes when the brakes are applied, and it has left and right turn signals. There's a bell on the left side of the handlebars, and there's no waterproof rating, so keep it indoors when it's raining. Overall, I thought the Kaabo Mantis 8 was a strong competitor for this price range. The power, range, hill climbing ability, and acceleration are what I expected for a $1,000 scooter. I would say this is more of a commuter scooter than an off-road, but like I mentioned before, it does have the power to go off-road. It's just very bumpy. I've got the link in the description if you want more details. So that wraps up the review. Hopefully you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for the latest in scooter, bike, and board reviews. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.